Joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss this and much more, I have agriculturalist John Akirile. Good to have you on the Breakfast Show this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, with the rising insecurity situation in the country, it's time to look at the conversation around new regional hubs and food baskets. Take, for example, the Southwest region. We've had that discussion all throughout this week, so to speak. Now, how much of a drive do you also expect on the part of the governors, on the part of ministries and other agencies that are linked to agriculture to take the bull by the horn, aggressively incentivize agriculture and ensure we have a stronger level of engagement of the youth? Because to attend to the current food crisis in the country, we cannot just go by the regular model we've had so far.
Thank you. I think for me, if our government officials will be sincere in their approach to the trend that we're having now, it's quite simple. If you have hubs at different regions, and then you have competitions, agricultural competitions put in for the youth. You see, in the likes of we having reality TV shows, can we also have reality TV shows for agricultural people or agriculturalists or young people who will come up with innovative ideas at different regions, at different hubs, and we have good incentives at the end of these competitions? What would that do for us? That would gear the interest of young people into agriculture. That will open up the agricultural space for them to see what they are not seeing before. That will change the perspective of young people as to why they should come into the sector and bring their own energy and creativity in that sphere. Now, what would that do for us as a nation generally? It will increase our food production, it will increase our processing capacity, it will increase our supply, and then you see that the young people that you are talking about now will now be the major driving force of agriculture in Nigeria, even not West Africa. So that is the way for us to go as a government. If truly there's a governmental will and there's sincerity of purpose from the government. I've said the times with that number, when you inject money into a sector, will you also follow the money? Yes, you should. Will there be reviews as to how the money is being expended? Yes, that should be put in place. Now, at the end of each year, is there a review of how much was spent? What was the resultant effect? How did the effect throw down to the average Nigerian Institute of Lagos? How did the effect impact the market price? And how is it impacting food security and challenges? Now, when we check all of these indicators, you will see, and then you can tell yourself if you are going the right way or not. But if the government is really sincere, if we can have 10 million naira for people who are into reality TV shows, why can't we have a 20 million naira bond of incentive for young people who will come into the agricultural sector and come up with innovative ideas as to how we go about the farming? Then you see, the same way you have loads of people queue for BBN audition, that same way you have them also queue for this agricultural audition too. So what we have, you have millions of young agriculture practitioners. That will also create massive employment. Over 60 million jobs will be created from this sector alone. Okay,
now looking at the bigger picture beyond little incentives, now we have to ensure that aggressively we are increasing our workforce or manpower towards driving the agriculture agenda. Now we've seen initiatives like the Anchor Borrowers Program, the NPAR that the government has put. That's commendable, but we still need to do more. Now let's talk about the area of education, research, training, mentorship across the value chain, because at the end of the day, in driving agriculture, we have to be updated with the times, with the technologies and all of the transfer of information that we've had so far. We cannot just think farming is just the subsistence level that we've already have or are used to. So we have to have much more aggressive conversation towards mechanized farming. How then do we now involve much more research, from seedling to planting to harvesting to processing and a whole lot more? Still engineering the growth prospect with youths driving this cause.
Thank you, David. And this is where this issue comes to play. We have so many universities of agriculture in this country. And then when you're talking about training, you're talking about research, then I ask myself a singular question. What are our universities of agriculture doing? We have lecturers, we have professors, we have students, we have research students who are residents in these campuses, and all they are doing is still in line with agriculture.
Their papers are laying unproductive on shelves.
So what that should do for us is that should be our training hub. So every state that's got a university of agriculture should be a training hub for that state. And then they can now domesticate it into the local government and into the rural areas where you can have, imagine you have NYSC students who have been posted to rural areas. Why not make these people agricultural ambassadors that will now train the local farmers as to present-day farming? Now, when you talk about the issue of young people involvement, what young people will bring into agriculture is ICT development. That will show you how people now, how you help them package their product, how you help them, bring in information, how you help them close the gap between their rural settlement and the market that needs their product, how you help them in the area of pricing, how you help them in the area of logistics of transporting their goods from where they are even to where the goods are needed without their physical presence. That is what young people can actually come in to do. In the area of training, the government can actually and will always help in giving people an enabling environment. Okay, government is still the highest bidder when it comes to all of these functions and responsibilities. The only thing that when the government is sincere and is pushing hard on it, you see that the people have no other choice than to follow in line. So for our young people, let me say on this platform that there are some young people that are actually doing absolutely well in this field, despite the fact that there is no governmental support to them.
But the population is small.
Very, very, it's not even small, it's minute. And it's only a microscopic few of young people that are actually in this sector that are doing well. Now, there's an issue of tractor, more like Uber tractor by a young person, bringing up, what's that to do for you? Is for you you need a tractor in your farm, just go on your phone and then you can always get a tractor and request a tractor immediately. So what will that do for you? It will make you employ more drivers, tractor drivers. It will make you have administrators. It will also give you convenience at your own farm settlement. The tractor will come to you, work 2-3 hours, and then you go back and then you pay them. Do you understand? So when young people are actually involved in this thing, you see that they own it. Not only that, and when they own it, you see that they put all of their might, their creativity, their brain and strength into it, and then we are good to go.
And talking about the future of farming now in Nigeria as well, we look at the likes of models, greenhouse farming. You look at conversations around mechanized farming. It's taking a uniquely different turn, adopting technology and a whole lot more now. How then do we now also aggressively now inculcate ICT information into all of these models that we're working with? Because at the end of the day, you need modification to your seeds. You need to have controlled environment due to the climate change you're experiencing. You need to be able to have conversations around irrigational farming that's not just the traditional means of transporting water to your farms and all of these. These need very unique, brilliant, contextually acceptable models. How do we begin to have this conversation or tap into this talent? Because the average individual who is into ICT is not necessarily looking towards solutions within the agriculture sector. They're looking at computer engineering and a whole lot more into the fintech space and much more. How do we shift the light onto agriculture? Let's find innovative solutions for agriculture across the value chain.
I think there have been innovative gestures across the value chain of agriculture, only that they are not being appreciated. We have soilless farming in this same country, where you don't need to plant, digging the soil again. Only with your pipe, the same pipe that runs water to your house and your sewage, that same pipe can also be used for planting. And then you can have good tomato seedlings, good tomato produce from that same pipe. It's called soilless farming. It's here in Nigeria by a young person. But is that being appreciated? No. Can the government look into that sector and see how can we pump in more money to make this thing? Take, for instance, a place like Lagos. There's no space for you to plant, except to go to the likes of Ekpe. Do you understand? So Lagos, for instance, can take up soilless farming, and then we can look at that. There's also the area of fertigation. What is fertigation? Fertigation is the process of you putting fertilizer in a water form using irrigation system to your plant. Do you understand? So young people are actually coming up with innovative ways to make sure that we reduce stress, as it is perceived to be that agriculture is stressful.
How do we force the government to see all of these initiatives?
The government are seeing, only that they are not willing to respond. And then the only thing we keep doing is that we keep doing our own. Maybe by the time the government sees that we as young people are celebrated across the globe, then they will now invite us, just like they did for the Krodo boys. When they see that you are celebrated outside Nigeria, they say, oh, he's our boy, he's a Nigerian, let's call him back, he's one of us, our son.
Well, all these are solutions to the current problem and even problems we would have in the future. We just have to tap into the wealth of talent we have on ground right now, because our human resource is our greatest strength. And when we don't make use of this, this could also be a weapon of mass destruction. We wouldn't want a situation whereby our youths continue to just lay there unproductive and their talents go to waste. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show this morning, John Akerele. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope government is also listening to all of the cues we've had so far today. Conversations around youth engagement has to take a new course. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it from the business desk this morning. Many thanks for watching so far. We'll take